Are you able to see my screens, right?
Yes.
So in previous sessions, we have gone through a introduction to a playwright, why playwright is required, how we can set up a playwright, what was the architecture of a playwright, three tenets of a playwright. Okay. And then we went through installation and getting started with the simple test cases, then how we can launch a browser. There were different options for launching a browser. Then we try to write multiple tests in a Playwright where we try to use a auto wait, then how we can use a code gen for a codeless test automation. Then how we can use a built-in get by selectors or allocators to locate our elements. Then we have also gone through all the tooling available within a Playwright. For example, how to use a Playwright code gen or a UI mode. And then I come up with the reporting, how we can customize the reports, how we can create our own reporter, then Playwright inspector, trace viewer, etc. So today I'm going to cover a page object model, which is a design pattern used to do a test automation in a Playwright. And then we'll again touch base on a before and on after hooks in details, and then how we can tag test cases, how we can annotate tests, and how we can use authentication, and then global setup and tear down. So starting with the page object model is a design pattern used to write a test cases where each web page will be uh, identified, and then that will be encapsulated using a page model. And then that particular page model will be used in a test case. So in that case, test case will be providing a detailed abstraction or a proper abstraction to actual pages. So whenever you're opening a browser, you're navigating to a various web pages. So web pages will be having a different elements or controls. For example, a web page will be having a hyperlink, or it will be having some button or a checkbox or a text box or a simple paragraph. So all those are called elements in a page. Okay. And from a one page, you can navigate to a other page within a website, or you can open a multiple web pages also. So accordingly means in a browser, we have a multiple pages, and each page will be having a different elements. Okay. So corresponding to each physical web page which is existing, we create a page object model class for a particular web page. For example, if we have a home page, for a home page, we'll be having a page object model class where we'll be defining all the components available within a particular home page as a page object model class. Okay. So to navigating to a page object model class, we'll be having a function. To click a button on a page, we'll be having a function. So we have all the actions captured in a page object model class along with the elements. Okay. The same way, if you have a login page, then there will be a separate page for a login page where you can have email or a username text box, and then there will be a password field, and then there will be a submit or a login button. So you can have all those elements identified, and then you can have a functions go to a login page, authenticate, or a logout, etc. Okay. Then there can be a page, means you're navigating to a dashboard, then you can have a page for a dashboard. If you have any other web pages, you can create a corresponding page object model classes. So what's a page object model? Page object model is actually a design pattern or a design practice that allows you to model a collection of objects to a specific page type. Okay. So a collection of objects will be all the elements on a page. All those will be declared as objects, and then you can use those different objects. Okay. So despite the name, this is not just always a literal, it could be a component or a section of a website also. For example, if you're creating a website in a React will be having multiple components for a single web page. So you can create a page object model class for each React component also. Okay. So in that case, you can take example means in a home page or a login page and then footer page, you can have a different type of pages. In a particular web page also, you can have a footer or a header, and then you have a navigation bar. So you can have a separate page for a footer, header, or a navigation also. So it's up to you the way you want to create a collection of all those objects, and you want to depict a particular page type. So the main goal is to abstract all the logic into a nicely wrapped packages. Okay, so which means when a person is writing a test case, he can simply call those methods from a page object model class. So in a test case, we will not be using any test functions. We'll be just calling page object model functions in a test case. Okay. And if there will be any change in any page, for example, in a login page, you change the locator. In that case, no need to modify your test case. You have to only modify your page object model class for a login page. And that particular change will be available to all the test cases which are calling a login page. Okay. And then POM is a concept. It's not means you have to create a particular class in a TypeScript. You can use any programming language to create a page object model class. You can use a C Sharp, Python, or a TypeScript or a JavaScript. So for each web page in the application, there will be a corresponding page class, and that particular page class will contain all the web elements within a page. And then whatever actions you are performing on a page, that will be having a page methods, which will perform all those actions on a page elements. For example, in a login page, you are clicking a submit button, so that will be action. So that action will be corresponding to have some functionality. For example, you want to log into a particular website, so you have to create authenticate or a login function over there. Okay. So this is a simple test case which we write in test.describe defines a test suite, and then you have a test case, then you have steps, right? If you see over here means everywhere we are using a page. This is a page class available from a Playwright. Okay. The same page class we will be using in a page object model classes. Okay. So you can create any test page.page.ts, for example. Okay. One second. So page should be having a page object model class should be having a dot page.ts extension. Okay. So we'll remove this function. So this is a simple page object model class. Okay. This is a simple class. You can call it, for example, home page. In the home page, we are using the same page which is available, which we can use from a page. Okay. And we are creating that particular object. Then you can create a function like a go to. You want to go to a particular, you want to navigate to particular web page, for example, login. Okay. You can create that particular uh, function. And then you can create other properties also, for example, what's our elements available in a particular page. And you can define all the elements over there. Okay. And under elements, again, you can have a header footer over here. And here you can use all the locators. So example, you can use the page.locator. Okay. So this way you can use all the locators. You can define elements and then you can create a function over here, async. Then there will be async click function. So you can create a async click function. Or you can say await this dot page dot click, and then you can give a particular element. Okay. Or you can say, okay, this dot header and then dot click. So you can create all these functions within a page object model class. Okay, so we'll remove this file. So I have created a basic page, base page.txt. This is abstract class, which means I'm creating a base page, and then this base page will be used in all the other classes. So sometimes we have to use wait, or we can create a wait function, or you can create a sleep function. So you can use this particular sleep or a wait function if you want to use. You can create any common functions over here in this particular page class. For example, async fill. Okay. If you want to fill any element, you can have that particular fill function and you can use that. The same way you can create a click function so that it will be easy for you to enough fill. Again, you want to make sure that first you want to await dot this page dot click a particular text box, and then you will fill a text. So you can create your own functions. You can call it fill input also, whatever name you want to give. Okay. Now I'm creating a login page. So login page is extending a base, and then I have email, password, and login button, these three locators, right? And then in a constructor, I am initializing all those elements. And then you can use those elements over here. Enter username, enter password, click login button, and then login function. Okay. If you want to verify whether it's logged in or not, you can create another function, verify login. If you want to check an error message on a login page, you can have an error message also. So this is a simple implementation. If you see, I'm simply using all these elements, and then I'm creating a functions to call those elements, right? Now, if you see over here, I'm just simply calling a login page. I'm initializing a login page. I'm calling a login page dot open function. So open function simply it's going to a particular URL. Okay. Then I'm calling a login page dot login page dot verify login. If you check this particular test case, I am not using a this dot page dot any particular test code. Everything I'm using a login page over here. If I have to modify, I have to simply modify a login page. If I have to create a new test case also, I can simply use this login page. And if anything change, I have to change in the login page of that model class. Okay. This particular login page can be used in a multiple pages. The same way, if you have another page, for example, you have a cart page, so you can create a cart page, so you can get all the locators in a cart. You
Hey,
can
Deepak.
initialize those locators over here, and then you can create a different functions. You want to add a product to a cart, you want to remove a product, you want to click a cart button, you want to validate that products are already in a cart or not, so you can create all those functions.
Hey, Deepak, can you go back to the first page that you created first, the page object model? Sorry to pull you back. Yeah. No, not this one. You showed me that login page call methods, right? Can
Test,
you show?
test
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So a login page. The login page is a method in login page.
login page is a page class. It's a class.
Oh, it's a class. Okay, it's a class. It's not okay method. Okay.
See, when I started, means a base page is a class, abstract class,
Okay.
and then login page is again a class, which is extending a base page so that that page object model is available. Okay. Even if you don't want to use a base page, I can again use If you don't want to use a base page, okay, the same class you can create, just remove this extend base. Okay, in that case, this will not be available.
Yeah.
And what you have to do, you have to add read-only page. It's already over here. This should be first thing, and then this will be a second thing. So this is a proper
Okay.
login page.
Earlier you used the base page as a super.
So
Okay.
base page means, so that means no need to create this page. This much code you will avoid every time. So you
Mhm.
have to simply add in a constructor.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Sometimes means we have a lot of functions, like I given you example, means you can use this way, you can create multiple utility functions for a page, and you can use those functions already. If you see over here, means we are using this dot fill. I'm getting it
Mhm.
separate, right?
Mhm.
So I can
Mhm.
create a fill input, and I can use that fill input every for these two. So I can avoid writing a two different functions, and I can have a single function, right?
Yeah, makes
So
sense.
it's a simple page object model mean class. You can use any object-oriented programming concepts over here. You can use abstract class. You can create a function, so you can override those functions. Also, it's up to you.
Okay.
Okay. Then this is a card page. So you can again create those functions. Every page should be having a open or a go to or navigate function, whatever term you want to use. I mostly use a word go to. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Or you can use a navigate also. It's up to you. Or you can use a open. So up to you the terminology you want to use. Okay. But every page should have a first function should be always navigating to a particular page.
Yep.
Okay. And then you can identify all the controls. So you have to create all those prop locators. Okay. And as I recommended, always try to use get by built-in locators wherever you want to use. If that's not possible, only then, for example, here means we are using a will be a hyperlink. Okay.
Yeah.
So any questions regarding page implementation?
So can you show me the structure how you define like objects separately and the method separately for the page, and then how where you are using the calling these methods, like how you maintain the structure in the left side, the
Which
hierarchical structure, like all the page objects you're maintaining a pages, and then all the tests you're calling in the setup is the main thing, setup and tests, right?
don't confuse with that.
Okay, okay.
So see, just understand there are two components only when you are
Mhm.
implementing page object model class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
There is a page class.
Yes.
That's up to you whether you want to use abstract page base page or not. It's up to you. Okay. This is a one, and there will be a test class. Okay. This will be always called like this. In this, you have to always create an object of a particular, and then you have to pass your page. Okay. So when you're passing a page, that will be only possible in three functions. Test function, if you go to hooks, so either you can use you can declare your particular page class in a before each or after each or in a test where you have this particular page fixer is available. You cannot use it in a before all and after all. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So you can either at the top here, you can create a particular login page object over here, and then you can call all those functions. That is clear.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Can you briefly tell the overview of like how you organize in a page object or like the pages test class? Other than that,
I'm showing means if you have the number of web pages you have in a web application, those number of pages you have to create. If you have a home page, you can create a home page. If you have a shopping cart, you can create a page for a shopping cart. If you have a dashboard, you have to create a page for a dashboard. If you have a login, then you have to create a page for a login. So for each web page, you have to create a corresponding page object model class.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and like you showed fixtures and hooks
Hey,
too, right? Like how
don't try
they.
to run away means I will cover fixer later on.
Okay. The like
We
the
are
is hooks also the part of the like the same framework?
I will explain hooks again. After
Yeah.
this, I will be going to hooks.
Okay.
I'm going deep into a page object model. Okay.
Sure.
So I'm just clarifying the concepts.
Got it.
You are aware of a fixers. I know, Miss, you are aware of hooks, but I will cover those again in very much detail.
Okay. Got it.
So I'm sharing the practical example, the way we should implement. Okay.
Got
This is clear means how we define pages. Okay. We can use multiple ways of implementing only a page object model. Okay. Now we'll try to run the login test. So it passed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is clear means how we can define a page object model class. Then I will show you a one even more complex way of implementing a page object model classes in actual world, how we implement.
Okay.
So this is another project now. Okay. So here we have a base page the same way. Okay. And if this is confusing to you, then means this was the previous implementation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we were passing a page, and then this we were initializing over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I've changed that implementation. Now I have a footer also. So what I have done, I got all the links available in a footer and I have defined over here. Okay. Then I was having a navigation, so I defined all these links over here. So what I have defined a separate base page component, which will be actually a locator. Okay. So I'm collecting all the locators available in a footer. I got all the locators in a navigation bar separately. Fine. Any confusion over here? And then in a base page, I'm creating the objects for a footer and navbar. In that case, I can directly use footer and navbar. Okay. Now this is a home page where we have again different components, like we have a product cards, we have a carousel cards, so we can create accordingly different components for those also. So this is means where you have a complex web pages and you have a header, you have a footer, you have a nav bar, you have a carousel, you have a hero component, hero banner, you have a CTA component, you have different sections. So all those selectors you can have different components, or you can have in a single component also. I will show you that one also. But this is clear to you? Means I'm just these components are nothing but these are locators available in a web page. And then this is a base page. Okay. And in a test case, I'm simply means calling all those pages. So this is a very complex implementation. If you want to go through detail, I can explain how I have implemented this. But this is means you can again split all the page components into separate components, and for each component you can identify all the elements available in a page, and you can create those objects, and then you can use those objects over there.
Sorry, can you repeat? Like you create a objects for the components inside the page?
Yes. Again, if it's difficult to understand, I will explain. This is your web page, you have a header. This is your header, right? And at the bottom you have footer. And then you have a side nav bar. This is your main page, right? Here again, you will be having multiple components. So here you will be having a hero banner. Then you will be having a carousel. You will be having a CTA component, or you will be having a categories, right? This is very complex page. So in that case, in the header, again, you have a navigation bar.
Just give us 1 more minute and we will start.
If, are you able to see my screen, right?
No,
No. Okay, I think we can start. Just again, I'm not sure how many of you have attended the
Why is
first
it
part of this Playwright
replaying things?
workshop that
Once.
Deepak has graciously shared his knowledge.
Multiple links, right? So for all those links, we are creating a common collection of links. If you have a lot of links over here, for each component, you're creating you are collecting all the elements, and you are storing all those elements into a different objects. That's what we are doing over here. It's clear to you now?
Yeah,
So for example, in the navigation bar, you have all those links
right.
you collected all those links into a single object. So that when you will be using, okay, you can tell, okay, links.home.click, right?
Correct.
And if you have a button, for example, this is a button, so you have a separate object for that. You have a search box for that, you create a separate component. So in that case, when you will be using all these different objects in a particular page object molecule, it will be very easy to understand, okay, means you are going to a nav bar. In a nav bar, there are links. In a links, you are getting a home link. Or you're going to a nav bar. In a nav bar, you're clicking open cart button, right? So this is to simplify the things. You can create all those elements as objects, and then you can use it. So for in a single page, for each component, I have created all these different classes, and then you can use that class in a particular home page. Okay.
Hey, Deepak, just one question. So you are saying we are creating the page object for each component, but are we not going to add method for that? So for example, that open card button, but it's only locator there. So it will definitely
I
need
have not
click, right?
implemented completely. Means this is my actual project, so I just bring things from that. But you can create over here now. Means if you want to use it, so you can create a function over here the same way.
Okay, so mean functions will also go there in that same.
Definitely, functions will
right?
be there. Means,
Okay, yeah, that's I just wanted to clarify.
okay,
Yeah,
so I'm just explaining a concept. Means if you have a very complex pages, then how in a React means we have always a complex pages, right?
you're right. Yeah, okay.
I will give you one live example if I will check 1 second.
So basically what we understand is like each page object model handles the all the elements in the page and
Yeah.
also actions on the page.
Definitely.
And the test has the workflow on the page. Am I right?
Tests are
Like
having you can call it
the flow.
workflow. Those are steps you want to execute.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So if you don't want to use that way, also means I will give you another way also for using all the selectors. Okay, give me 1 second. So what you can do, you can create a page. So this is other way means you can create a all the constructors. Okay. So you can have a main, then in a particular page, you can have different components. You can go like this also. So if you don't want to create all the selectors the way I was creating, so then you can have a footer over here. Okay. In a footer, you can have all those. If there are links, you can have a footer. This can be links. Okay. And then we can copy where are the links. We can have all the links like this. Okay. So this way also you can call means particular selector.footer.links.home. So you can have all the selectors in a single page also, this way also. So it's up to you the way you want to implement your page. But ultimately means we have to identify all the elements. Those elements should be available in a page, and you have to, or for all actions, you have to create a methods. Fine.
Which one do you recommend, Deepak?
Yeah, I am using different approach in different type of projects. So this is the best way, means where you have a components and each component will be having these
Yeah,
links. Okay, in that case, it will be very clear.
very clear and maintainability is easy, I
Yes.
think.
That's what means I am giving you examples of my live projects which I have implemented.
So as the number of pages increases, like it will be like a 1500 pages, something like that, like the connecting them.
And you have to create those many pages.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay. And for
depending on the
example,
flow, like we have to see.
or why we are creating a footer and navbar as a separate component, those pages may be having a common footer and common navbar, right? In that case, you can use the same base components,
yeah,
common components, right?
right.
It's the same thing which I am showing over here. You will be having a home page and login page. Test case one will be using a home page and login page both.
Yeah.
It will be first going to a login page, and from login page, it's navigating to a home page, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the test case, you may be using a single page or you may be using a multiple pages also.
Yeah.
So there will be a page fixer also. So you can miss, I will cover fixers in detail, but you can have a fixer where you can capture all these pages also. Okay. In that case, this test will be having that fixer already in built.
So how does this helps with the picture for the page?
Will again, if you see this is a home page dot page, so this home page is coming from here. Now it's used as a fixer over here. I will again explain in detail what is a fixers.
Okay.
Now let's go to a before and after hooks, which we covered in little detail earlier also. So in each test suite, we have a before all and after all test hooks, which means if you have a one test case or a two test case or three test case, before running all these test cases, before all hook will be called, and after running all the test cases, after all hook will be called. Okay, so these are the functions defined, which means before running all these test cases, it will run before all, and once all these test cases will be executed, it will run after all. Okay, and then we have a before each and after each also, which means before a particular test case, before each test case, a particular function will be executed, and after executing a test case, again that particular function will be executed like this. So we have a before each. In a before each, there will be a page object available. We have a after each where page object will be available. But if you are using a before all and after all, then page object will not be available. Okay. So if you want to repeat a particular function before or after execution of a test case, then we are using a before each or after each. Okay. But if you want to do some setup type of functionality which will be executed before all the test cases and then after all test cases, then you can use it before and after all. In that case, a particular page object will not be available. Okay. And before all and after all will be used. For example, you want to set up some test data, so you can use before all. You can create that particular test data, or if you want to do a login, you can use that one also. And once after all, you can clean up a particular test data, you can clean all those objects also. You can log out using after all. Manage tags. I have created so many examples, I forget where I kept that one. Yeah. So if you see before all, there is no page object available, so you can have all the resources over here. After all, you can have in any sequence. Okay, it's not means you have to add it before and then after will come bottom. You can add all these functions anywhere. This is a common practice, means we have all the hooks before test and then we have an actual test case. Okay. So if you check over here, it says setting up a resources and then cleaning up a resources at the end, right? And in between we are running a test case. And I think we are not navigating to a start page and test completed. Navigating to a start, setting up a resource is from a before all, before each, a test case, after each, and then after all. This is clear. Then we have another hooks also, for example, dot fix me. Dot fix me will be used if you are aware a particular test case is failing and you want to fix it. So you can add a dot fix me. In that case, the test case will be running, but it will not be shown in a test results. So it will not shown as a failing test case in a test results. Okay. And again, then you can use different fixers. For example, is mobile fixer you can use, and accordingly you can check, okay, if it's a mobile only, then you have to fix it, and it will not work for a mobile phone. So if you're running a test case for a mobile phone, then it will not run because you are already told it's failing and you don't want to run that test case. Okay. And then there's another approach also, means you can use a dot skip also if you want to skip any test case. Again, you can use uh, different fixers. If it's a chromium only, then it will skip. Or you want to skip for all, then you can use as dot skip, then it will be skipped for all. Okay. So there are a lot of other hooks available, dot fix me, dot skip, which you can use. And then if you are using a describe, then you have a dot serial. If you want to run all the tests in the sequence mode, then if you want to run in a parallel, then you have a parallel also. Okay. So any question related to a hooks?
Deepak, one question. So before all and after all, right? So whatever we have there, resource initiation and cleanup. So if the tests are multiple tests are running in parallel, is that before all and after all applicable to all of the tests
It's
running?
independent whether test cases are running in parallel or sequence. Before all will be running before running all those test cases, and after all will be running after execution of all those test cases, whether it's in a sequential mode or in a parallel mode.
So does it mean all those five? So suppose five tests are running in parallel, it will executed after completing all five
All
tests.
the 5, or out of 5, one will be very fast, one will be very slow. Once all those 5 test cases will be executed, only then it will be executed.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank
So
you.
I have shown you UI mode also, right? So what we'll do, when you will run this test case, so you can see all the hooks over here, right?
Yeah.
So before all hook is there, after each, so you can see what happened in this particular hook. You can see what happened in this particular hook. Okay. See, page fixer, context, and browser, all those are fixed and those are available to a before each, but not to a before all. So you can see all these hooks in a test execution also, whether you are using a trace viewer, you can see all those hooks in a trace viewer also separately, the same in a UI mode also. Here also, if you see before, after, you can see a particular action was opening a particular example.com domain only, and then they jump before and after also.
But for each test file, will the before all, after all will be different?
See, that's what I explained in a diagram means. Before each will be for each test case. If it's confusing to you, let's
No. So suppose there are two test files.
let's do that way. Right? 3 test cases.
Yeah.
And then you have confusion about before each and after each, right?
No, so this is okay. Now this is one file, right? So I understand that all tests within this one file, it will wait for all of the tests to finish, right? Within one file. But if there are two different
Now,
files running,
these will be running 3 times.
yeah, for this file, right? That I got it. My question is about before all and after all.
Before all and after all will be executed once only for 3 test cases.
Yeah, got it. So this is assume this is file number 1, right? There is suppose this is hooks1.test.ts. Assume
The
we all
hooks will work in a particular file only. If you
okay
have
only got
if
it.
you
So
have another file, those hooks will be independent of these hooks.
okay, got it. Yeah, that was my question. Thank you.
We can run these and we can check out also. There is a problem. We copied as it is. So 3 test cases working in a serial mode, right? Now, if you see, right, and set up resource then once and then after running all the test cases.
Yeah.
Now, after hooks, we have tagging our test cases.
So if I want to run all my tests in Chrome, like all the tests in Pattern Test Suite, where do we configure that?
In a playwright.config.ts file, you can configure projects.
Okay.
We'll capture that one also later on.
Okay.
So sometimes means you have to tag a test cases to define a type of a test cases or based on the way it's getting executed. For example, you want to tell a particular test case is a regression test case, or it's a BVT test case, or it's a smoke test case. So you can use it at the rate, and then you can use any variable. So you can tag test as a fast or a slow type of a test case, type of a browser you want to use. So you can tag those test cases like that. Okay. And if that's called grouping, so you want to filter test cases based on that particular tag. So in that case, you can use minus grep and then a particular tag, and it will run those test cases. Okay. And if you want to run all the test cases except a particular type of group, then you can use a minus minus group invert, and then you can run all those test cases.
And what is the use? I didn't get you. This one.
You're telling that this is a smoke test.
Okay. Oh,
This is also a smoke test. Okay. But this is a regression test.
oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay. Now you want to run only a smoke test cases.
Okay, got it.
So how you will run?
Okay. Now it makes sense. So we need to add at the rate symbol inside the test name, right?
So how many tests it's running now?
2. It should run 2.
Right?
Yep.
Now you want to run regression one. Right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
So it's up to where you want to use this. You can use any way. You can use like this also. This is smoke. Okay. This is P1 test case. This should run only in a test environment. Right?
Oh, you can give multiple tags too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can give all those in a group if you want to use multiple grouping also. We'll again use means sometimes we are not using a grouping, we are using some fixtures to identify a type of a test case we want to run. I will capture that one also later on. So I think we already have our time. So let's capture annotate, then we'll stop there. So you have a data annotations or annotations in a C# also where you can use identifiers, right? The same way in a test case, you can use an annotation like this annotation. So annotation, and then you can define a type and description. Okay, so it's a key value pair in an annotation tag you can define over there. Okay, and that annotation can be used in a reporter. So this is very important feature which I use a lot. For example, this is a test, right? And then you can use curly bracket. I am telling annotation, this particular test belongs to a performance team. Okay. Again, I have given these annotations, these are belonging to a performance team. I have another test, I'm telling, okay, this is a issue, and I'm giving a description. Then I'm using multiple annotations also I can use. Okay. And then you can tell, okay, this is you can use annotation like this also, test.info.annotation.push. So if you take example of this one, annotation team and then performance, right? So in a reporter, you can capture all the, if you have custom reporter, for example, this is my custom reporter. So I can get all the annotations from there, and I can use like this. Okay, try to find the annotation where we have defined the honor. And from that honor, I will get a description, and that description will tell which particular team it belongs to. So if you want to tag, okay, if you want to tell, okay, this particular test case belongs to a particular team, and once a test case will fail, I will get information, okay, this test case failed, and this particular team is an honor. And then you can contact that particular team using an email, or you can create a bug on a particular team, right? Or if you want to tell, okay, this particular test case is having some issues, so you can add an annotation, okay, this particular test case is having an issue, and this is a link to a particular issue. So, and we have to fix that particular issue. When we fix that particular issue in a product, we have to fix a test case also. Got my point? In a product, you have some issue which you want to fix, you can add that particular issue in a test case also. So you can annotate, okay, this is a test case and the issue, and I want to fix that issue also. Third way, where you want to use a multiple annotations. And this annotation is an object in a test info. So fourth way I told me, you can also use a test.info and then you can get that annotations.
So what does the push does to use that annotation to this test?
This is the other way of using annotation. I'm showing you this. If you don't want to define annotation over here.
Oh, okay. Creating annotation.
Okay, you can define
Uh,
at the in a test case in test definition also.
okay.
Okay, and how you can capture those? Again, you can use a test case dot in annotations, and you can get all those details.
It's kind of an enhancement to annotation. Sorry, grouping. Or
It's grouping and annotation totally different things.
totally different.
Grouping you want if you want you can use when you're executing a test case. You cannot
While
annotate
okay, this
for
one is in the report.
okay. It's only available in a test error stack or in a test execution. So test reporter will be able to use that.
Okay.
We have authentications. We'll leave that one for time being. Then we have a setup and tear down. So Playwright provide you a means like a before, all, and after a look, right? Before, all, and after all is for a particular test suite, right? If you have multiple test suites and you want to execute before that particular all the suites and after all the suites, then we have a global setup and global tear down. Okay, so this will be executed before running all the test files and after all the test files. So if you see this, this is before running a test case, right? And once all the test cases are executed, then we are running this tear down, right? So these will be used if you have multiple test files. Even then it will be running before that and after all. So there are different ways of using these. One thing, you can have a project. In a project, you can give a global dot setup dot ts and global dot, and you can define it as a tear down or setup. Okay, this is a one way. Second way which I am using and which I mostly use is in a playwright.config.ts. Here you can define a global setup and global tear down. Okay, so these are files. So you have to use a require.resolve. These are proper files. So you have files you can put anywhere. And this is a tear down. This will be used, for example, you want to run a web application locally. So you can run your local server here. Okay. And then you can shut down that local server in a tear down. And you're running a test case against the local web server. Okay. You want to create a new database, you can create a new database over here. And then you can remove that database at the end. So that's the purpose of a global setup and global tear down. And second way you can use in projects also. So
Deepak, all these all these classes we need to extensively call at the end, or how it will be called, the
it
tear
will be
down.
automatically called.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a very detailed for authentication. So we are not having that time. It's already 12 o'clock. We'll cover tomorrow.
Yes, please.
But I have shown you practical examples, means just writing a simple test case, you should use a pager.model classes. You should use a before and then after hooks. You should tag your test cases. You should annotate your test case if you want to capture in reporting, and then you should have a global setup and global teardowns, right?
Mhm.
So I stood given you one example means in a global setup and global teardown also means uh, you can you can start a local dev server, right? There is other way also in the same playwright.config.ts file. If you don't want to use a global setup, you can start your web server locally. So because I am giving that example, let's capture that one. I will show you in the documentation how you can use that one also. So in a config, you can give this thing. In the same config, if you want to start a local dev server, you can give your web server and you can give a command which will be used to start a local dev server. You can give a complete URL over here. Okay. And if you want to capture an input and output of the web servers, then you can use std out and std error over there. And this is a way you can run test cases against a local dev server like this also. Okay. Or you can have this particular command you can use in a by using a execute sync, you can use in a global setup.ts file also. Okay. And third way means if you want to use a global setup and tear down, you can define in a projects also, you can define a setup DB or a cleanup DB. Okay. And then you can have another project Chromium, which will be running all, and then here you're defining a dependencies. So dependencies means it will depend on a setup DB, and setup DB will be running this particular file only. Okay. And then there will be a tear down, which will be called at the end. So this is a other way means where you can define a dependency, but this is not a proper way. So you should use a global setup and global tear down, which is available as a part of a playwright.config.ts. Okay. Then I told you means if you want to run test cases against a local web server, you can use web server like this, or you can define your global setup. You can start over here also. So I am using a local dev server in my global setup. So I start my local dev server from my global setup. Because I'm doing a lot of things in a global setup, so I have to copy that in a host file also. So I'm pasting my URL in a host file also so that it will be running properly. So you can have a global setup functions over here also. So any questions?
So is there any particular reason to use global setup other than config.ts?
It's a global setup which is part of config.ts only.
Okay.
So it's a part of config.ts only. That's what I'm
Oh, okay. Okay. Just call it here.
I'm telling you means if a complete test run which is having 100 test files will be having a dependencies where you have to run something before it and after it. So you should use a global setup and global tear down. Okay.
Got it.
But again means some people use projects, so they use like this. So you can use a projects also. Okay. And where they have defined, okay, that particular setup DB will be only this particular file. Okay. And that particular concept I was going to explain you in the authenticate test means where I will be using the projects. So which will cover next time. Okay. Somebody asked me about the parameters, right?
Yeah.
Govind, I think it was you. So if I want to run a test case using if I have this array where I have defined username and password, okay, and given a label, and I'm running a loop, in a loop, I'm running a test case. Okay. In a test case now means I have this particular label. That label will be passed as a parameter now here. And I can run this test case for multiple users. Okay, so this is example means how you can pass a parameter to a test case. So you can have a loop before that, and you can run all the test cases in a loop, which we, if you want to run a performance test case or you want to use a multi-role testing, then this is a proper example, and I will show you how it works also. Oh, that will not be in the test folder. It's out of test folder. How many tests it's running? 2 test cases.
Yes.
And if you see login with test user, and where is the other one?
Login with admin.
Login with admin user. So that's admin user and test user are labels.
The values you are passing from the database or?
No, it's a hard-coded. This is the array I have created.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
I have defined this in a particular credentials file.
Yeah,
From
gotcha.
there we are getting this array, and I'm running that array in a loop. Fine.
Oh, the test credentials is like hard-coded values or the secrets?
Yeah, those are hard-coded values.
Okay.
So I will show you also data.
Okay.
Fine, so you can contact me. I already shared these details. So you can contact me on my LinkedIn if you want to get more information about any particular scenario.
Thank you, Deepak.
So I have a very detailed examples for a test fixers, also different type of test fixers, and then we'll have that cover that authentication also. Okay.